So you might be wondering how to protect your finances if you didn't get a prenup. So a lot of people know a prenup is the best way to protect your finances if you're going to get a divorce. With a prenup in California, you can have your spouse waive their right potentially to spousal support and to any community interest they could accrue in your assets or any assets that you have from during your marriage. But if you didn't get a prenup, then you won't have that prenup to protect you in your divorce. Keep in mind, though, even if you did get a prenup, California law changes all the time, and a prenup isn't whether it's enforced or not isn't based upon the time the prenup's drafted. It's based at the time of enforcement. So if you had your prenup drafted now in 2025, when you can arguably waive spousal support a lot of the time, sometimes depending on the circumstances, and then you get divorced out in 2035. I can't tell you what California law is going to be in 2035, and it's possible that a lot of the terms of your prenup won't be enforceable anyways. So a prenup isn't a certain way of protecting your finances, but it can help. We just can't make any kind of guarantees, right? Because it's going to be based on the law at the time the prenup is enforced. So don't be too hard on yourself if you didn't get a prenup. There's still other things you can do to protect your finances if you do get divorced. One thing you can do is a postnup. Postnup's similar to a prenup, but post after you get married. And with a postnup, we really don't like to include a spousal support waiver just because it's not something that's typically enforced, at least right now in California courts. That said, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, so I'll leave a caveat in there. But generally, we don't include spousal support waivers in postnups. But you can include a waiver of, your community interest in various assets or that kind of thing. And you both have to sign it, and it can be done after your date of marriage. So that is the best way probably to protect yourself financially after you've gotten married. But if you're already contemplating divorce, you should know that a postnup cannot be drafted in contemplation of divorce. And if you were kind of divorce planning and you asked your spouse to sign that postnup, then if you do get divorced, your spouse can contest the postnup in court and say it shouldn't be enforced against them because it was drafted in contemplation of divorce. So we always kind of make sure if we're going to do a postnup that you're planning on staying married, that needs to be kind of a piece of it. Another way to protect your finances, if you're married, I suppose, is to stay married. I don't know. That might work for you, might not. Another way to protect your finances from divorce is, I guess, get a really good divorce attorney that's not just a bulldog in court, but also a really competent negotiator, a shrewd negotiator. You want to have an attorney that's as passionate and zealous about negotiating a deal for you as they are about battling out and fighting for you in the courtroom if that's required. You need both skill sets hand in hand. A good negotiator is critical to save you financially from your divorce, because it's not going to just save you as far as what deal. They're not just going to negotiate a good deal for you. They're going to save you from yourself because you might want to win and go in guns blazing because you're powerful and you can get what you want. But the amount of legal fees you might be hemorrhaging might not be worth it. It might not be worth it to put all that money in to fuel the anger you have or to fuel your desire to be right. You need a divorce attorney that's willing to tell you the hard truth and be kind of difficult and tell you what you don't want to hear and be stern and keep you in line so that you're really being smart about this and not reactive, right? A good divorce attorney is going to really save you from yourself if you get divorced. And part of the things, a good divorce attorney will negotiate might be related to things like protecting you from having to pay long-term spousal support as part of negotiating a deal. Or it might relate to, if you have a business, how we value the business so that potentially, your future earnings and whatever else stays your separate property, or valuing it in a manner to make sure you can keep it. There's all different strategies we can have to kind of make sure you're financially protected. Another strategy we like when we can is using a private judge to keep you out of the public court, or a private mediator, utilizing the right forensic experts or other experts. Just keeping you out of the public eye and keeping you out of the public process and doing things more privately and more amicably to protect you and to protect your kids and to protect your family. Because even if you're not going to be with the other parent in the long term, you're still going to have communication with them and some kind of relationship if you share a child. So it's keeping, things at arm's length so that you don't get triggered, and it's not a deal you're negotiating yourself. So if you're potentially going to go through a divorce process and you're married and you're wondering, how can I save myself financially? Oops, I didn't get a prenup. So sad, too bad. It's okay. We don't know if that prenup would have been enforced. You didn't get one, so let's move forward. Let's see if you're already thinking of divorce, probably not going to get a postnup. So let's see if we can negotiate for you. It's going to be reasonable once we do an exchange of the financial disclosures to figure out really what you're entitled to. Hopefully, the other party will have a really good attorney that we can negotiate a deal with so that we can avoid court and save you financially. So if you're looking for help with that, feel free to contact my law firm, Fenchel Family Law, and we would love to help you.